You want to give us your good morning intro or something like that?
Fuck you, Eddie.
Oh,
Whoa.
fuck you, Glenn. Oh, the bleepers are going to be going off.
Wait a
Great.
minute. He said that to you. Now let's see if he'll say the same thing. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Gary. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Alex,
Yes.
thank you very
Yes,
much, my man.
Oh,
Thank you
Yes.
for being here.
I would like to
Excellent.
invite you guys to enjoy a dick salad with extra fuck off dressing.
Okay,
Doesn't sound like an appetizing salad, but all right.
Okay.
I guess it would all depend on
You got a
what
double
your
helping
appetites
last
are.
night, you weirdo.
What? Of the salad?
All right, welcome to the Kahler podcast. This time we have special guest. You,
Oh, hello.
Glenn Fricker, sitting right next to Gary Kahler and Alex. Last name, please.
Nasla. Alex Nasla.
I would have never got that.
Yep, that's okay.
And I'm
he got it
Gary
yesterday.
Kahler, and I
Yeah.
just want to, hey, damn, good to have you here. Thanks
for
very
having
much,
us, man.
Glenn and Alex.
Dude, thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
us. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm thrilled to be here. This is great.
Yeah.
it's a fantastic time. So we reached out to Glenn to ask him if he would help us out with the Glenn Tipton Parkinson's Foundation. We decided to build a replica of Glenn Tipton's 78 black Strat.
Which we totally can't see in this shot.
Which we totally cannot see in the shot. And we went to great lengths to do this, but before we even did anything, I reached out to Glenn here and said, would you help us do it? And he said,
I said, yeah, I'd be absolutely thrilled. Just briefly, I just want to say the whole reason I got into music was Judas Priest. Screaming for Vengeance was the record that basically changed my life and got me into music, made me want to pick up a guitar and start playing that. Ultimately led to learning studio production and then ultimately to YouTube. And then here we are. So been a big Glenn Tipton fan for many, many, many years. And the idea of actually helping out with his Parkinson's Foundation sounded like a very good idea. So I'm like, yes, I'm totally in.
yeah, and it's been a lot of fun. And you never played a Kahler before.
No. And that's the thing. I mean, like, I grew up seeing Kahlers on posters and in magazines and all that shit. And I'm just like, what? Am I ever going to get to play one?
Yes.
And, I finally got to try one out a couple days ago. And it's like, oh, why? Why haven't I got to play one of these before? Why weren't these coming into my studio? They're so much more stable than Floyd's.
And if you happen to need to isolate them for any reason, we got a little set screw and you can make it a fixed bridge like that.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's like, the one thing I love is the whole palm muting thing. It's like you palm mute on a Floyd. I'm always screaming at guitar players, don't palm mute too hard. Don't, when you gotta hit a heavy power chord or something like that, the Floyd will just go wow, like that.
Yep.
And you gotta back off that kind of thing. This, no.
You can't do it. And that's because the saddles are actually independent of the cam. So I actually invited you.
So let's do that in guitar player speak. Okay.
Yes.
So the string thingies here that they sit on, those are independent from the twisty bit.
Yeah, from the divey
Yeah.
dive. Because of that, I challenged you. I was like, try to palm mute too hard and bend it out of tune. You couldn't do it.
No, it's fucking insane. I'm like, where the fuck was this?
Yeah, well,
Apparently it's been around for years.
Yes, exactly. I could have used one of these 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have saved me so much grief in the studio.
1982. Yeah, that was the year that actually Gary brought it in to Neil Moser of BC Rich. First guy to ever put one on a guitar. Said, put this on. Tell me what you think.
Well, that's a whole different story. Actually, I brought it into Bernie Rico, and Moser was working for Bernie.
Yeah.
And the first one I brought in said, well, this shit don't work. He didn't like it. He did. We had wrong springs on it, and the cam wasn't quite right.
Uh-huh.
So Bernie Rico and Moser and
Wayne Charvel,
Wayne Charvel,
Grover Jackson,
and Grover Jackson, all these people were all part of saying, Kahler, you're so full of shit, you don't know what you're doing. Because only the Fender Fulcrum is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And by the way, Floyd Rose is going to be out with his new stuff so you better damn well get in gear and do something. So anyway, all these guys had a little bit to say with that, and plus Dave's story at the time, and then they're kind of all a part of what they wanted to see as a guitar player. And then we finally came out with it, and then that was the way it happened.
Now, it's actually really kind of interesting because Grover Jackson had a lot to do with this. Grover met Dave Story, this New Zealand guy who was a mechanic and really into auto racing, and he had a cam bridge that the cam was just absolutely nailed, but the bridge wasn't so hot.
Yep.
Gary had a bridge that was great, but the cam wasn't so hot. And it was kind of like those old Reese's Peanut Butter Cup commercials. Yeah. You got your cam on my bridge. You got your bridge on my cam. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so I moved here from New Zealand. He went to work with us, and we perfected it.
Yeah,
that was it.
Fucking awesome. So, and that's the thing. I mean, like, you guys have been showing me the finer points of your 2-point system versus you know, like a single fulcrum idea here, and there's definitely some serious advantages to the roller system you've got here, and the independent thing. Yeah, tuning stability is one of them. You can dig in, and it's not going to do strange things. The other thing is sustain.
Yeah, it's sustain, and it's so funny too because every now and then I'll see somebody who's probably never even held a Kahler in their life, and they'll say the rollers kill the sustain. And it's like, your uncle told you that back in the 80s, right? Or something like that because it wasn't set up right. Oh, the rollers kill the rollers don't kill the sustain. In fact, they enhance the sustain because the string never leaves what's called the witness point. In guitar speak, it would be where the string touches the saddle.
And when it's absolutely 100% in tune harmonically and all the rest of it, you can actually hear in the sound that harmonic does not want to break up.
No.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it just goes nuts, and you can hear it all the way down. You hear the sound all the way down.
If you hear that dive bottom at the beginning of Painkiller,
it's
like that, just that screaming harmonic thing, and it's like, you can't do that with a Floyd.
Yeah, I was always wondering how he did that, because I never seen another person pull that off. Yeah.
Well, listen to any Slayer album with Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman, and I mean, they had a way of kind of double teaming, destroying the harmonic by diving different ways at the same time, and
on opposite ends of the stage.
Yeah.
They do it back and forth. They drive you nuts. What they were doing with those harmonics. Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, like, you push a Floyd down, you're actually decreasing the point where the string actually touches the saddle. You're actually decreasing the width, or I mean the actual area. That's the word I'm looking for. You're decreasing the area that it touches, so it's basically hanging once you get it down to a certain point.
Yeah, it's like a clothesline that's drooping.
Everything goes.
Something's drooping anyway.
Oh my goodness. Now, and not to say that the Floyd isn't a great thing.
No. I played one for years. They're fine.
Yeah.
But this is just kind of like a completely different animal.
It is, and it feels completely different too.
But you guys are doing just absolutely batshit crazy designs here. That's what kind of blew me away.
Yeah.
I've been walking around here the last couple of days, trying out all these things, learning all this whammy bar lore and history and that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's like for all you gent maniacs, all you guys who got, who think, playing the lowest 3 notes on the lowest string on your 9 string is somehow musical. This is what you want, because this will get you more than just ba-da, 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 ba-da. Because now you go ba-da, 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 boom, ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. You can play whammy bar. Like, look at, what is that, 10 string?
That's string? A 10 string.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. And look at that. You don't have to roto like a huge chunk of your guitar either.
It's
self-contained.
Significantly less wood needs to be removed. And
Beavis, he said wood. But that's good. That's the thing. I mean, like every trem I've got right now, there's a big chunk missing out of the back of my guitar, and then you got a big block of whatever on the other side of it to like counteract that. But this is very low profile. I mean, like that's just nuts. But this is the really insane bit. So you gent guys who need a multi-scale.
Yep.
Look at this. This is insane.
Is that 10 string as well?
That's 10 string as well.
10 string multi-scale whammy.
That's just fucking that's just bad shit.
The beauty of that particular bridge too is if for whatever reason you decide that you don't like the 10 string multi-scale and you wish it were a regular 10 string, any multi-scale we make, you can turn it into a regular bridge, because you can just take off those extenders, and there's a plate that
trim plate
we don't have there with you right now, but that sits on the guitar itself. Now,
Okay.
you can't do anything about your your fan fret neck or anything, but you can take it off, put it on a different guitar, multi-scale or no. It's completely convertible.
Let me add also that it's the degree. Everybody's got a different idea about what that
rake.
Degree is.
That one's extreme.
This one is extreme. Generally, it's somewhere between about 22 and 28 is about what the degree of it is there.
Wow.
But this one here is up to 32.
Jeez.
So, I mean, it's
that's nuts.
I mean, it was really special. You can't imagine how many special custom parts goes into this top part.
Yeah.
260 parts. Okay, so in other words, this might cost a few bucks to do.
Yeah, it's
definitely a custom job.
But we got what I like to refer to as kind of an erectile set around here. So the saddles, the regular saddles, fit on all of our different stuff, and they can have that in stainless steel, brass, or Teflon glass for any witness point up here. But then we got 4 different extenders that we make that up.
Yeah.
So we have that, and then we custom make them when we get them, and we can put them on any degree angle that whatever their fret is doing.
Cool.
Not only that, but you might want to look at those rollers, and as you get to your heavier strings, they actually get wider.
Yep.
And the string hooks where you hook that ball in, then they actually get wider too.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
We've had some people go as much as into the 60s, 65, 70.
If you're getting one of these, don't lose anything.
No, don't lose anything. And you know what? When we send these out, oftentimes we'll send out a couple extra pieces.
Good idea.
And those extra pieces are to fine tune your intonation. Then you send them back, and we credit you back whatever those things were.
Yep.
Oh wow!
Try finding anybody else that'll do that.
That's actually really fucking cool, guys.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, and then right in front of you, that bass bridge right there, that's a multi-scale too.
And this is yeah. These guys make bass whammies. I've had one on the show before. It was an old one. My cousin got it at like the end of the 80s, and it was pretty cool. But this is what, 5-string?
That's a 5-string, but that can be. You notice that there's a lot of space in there.
Front to back, yeah. Wow,
you could actually put a 6 saddle on there, make that a 6-string. We go up to I think it's 9-string with bass. Or is it 8?
Yeah, we go up to 9 strings on a bass.
But you'd need to replace the cam though, right?
No, you just add an extra saddle. Those those things right there those saddles are movable.
Well, I get the saddle, but what about this part?
That is movable too. The string hook,
movable.
It's movable.
You can okay.
Yeah.
You hook your string in here on the string hook, and you can move that so it's straight across the saddle, straight to the nut, so that you don't have your string.
Why does nobody know about this shit?
Well,
I don't know. We got to do a better job of getting it out there. Not only that, now this is a rearwood model. Now we also make a forward model.
Yeah,
and it's in the same piece. We got another one where we just put a different pin in here, and you can turn that all around and make it forward.
Is there any like advantage of having it forward versus backward?
It all depends on how the bass was made. So for a P bass, for example, forward saddle won't fit on it because it'll just be out of intonation.
Not only that, I mean, you can't even get the plate on it. Because as
so
you know, the
P
bass, I mean, that bridge sets right up at the end.
Right.
Well, that isn't going to work.
What's that one, a 6 or a 7?
No, this is a
so we just put them in backwards.
Yeah, this is a 6-string / blunt force trauma weapon. You could definitely really hurt somebody with this.
It's
got some weight to it. Yeah,
100% brass.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good extra brass knuckle. Just bass player pisses you off, you just clobber him upside the head, knock him out, record his bass lines when he's out cold, and then it's done proper for the record.
Yeah, and point out too, 360 half hard brass, which is free machining brass. So many times.
Nobody knows what the fuck that means.
What that means is this. Put very simply, whenever you hear somebody say bell brass, that is a made-up term.
Oh, right.
Okay.
It's not actually brass, right?
Well, it is, but it's like, well, is that decorative brass? Is it this kind of brass? So 360 half hard brass is something that you can actually look up and find the properties of it. We're not hiding behind some kind of made-up industry name. You know, like there was a company, I won't name any names because we don't need the lawsuit.
Me and Glenn can take guesses though.
They made a snare drum out of aluminum, which is a terrible, terrible idea.
Oh yeah.
So what they did was they put the beginning of their company's name with alloy at the end of it, and this is a blah blah blah. Now it's made out of this material, and it was just their bullshit term for aluminum.
There's another thing about 360. That is bar brass. It's bar brass. It isn't even round brass. We buy that in bars, and then we machine it from there. So the other thing, it's 360 identifies how much copper is in it.
Yes.
And that's bar brass number.
Our whammy bars at the tip, instead of being plastic, is also 360 half hard brass.
It's never
as a counterbalance.
Nope.
And then the bar.
Good job, Glenn.
I know.
The bar itself is 303 stainless steel. So you can actually bend the bar because there's an ideal place for it to be set. And that is where the set screw is. So it makes string changes and all this other stuff very, very easy. In fact, I showed you the other day switching a very light gauge to a heavy gauge. You just spin one screw and you're done.
Do you guys know how many hours I've wasted in the studio when a client, says, "Oh, I bought new strings for my guitar." He brings it in. He's got a Floyd, and it's a different gauge. Then we got to spend 2.5 hours getting the damn thing rebalanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when somebody brings a Floyd into my studio to record with me, I basically force them to use one of my other guitars that don't have a Floyd on it.
Yes, exactly. Because it's just,
Well, usually a fixed bridge guitar, because I didn't have any Kahler. I didn't really mess with Kahler that much, so I didn't know it would not have that problem.
Okay, 2 questions. Okay,
sure.
As a studio guy, so this is this thing. I burned up a lot of time on Floyds.
Yeah.
And so now, I've really got away from the whole trem guitar thing. Most of my guitars are all fixed bridges because Floyds are just inherently unstable and, just slow you down in the studio. So you've got the gauge thing figured out. You've got the string change thing figured out. That's great. That's great. What about the spring chirp?
Non-existent.
Because you play a Floyd, you stop playing, it keeps going.
What I always say is this is a whammy bar for people who don't think that they can play a whammy bar, and they'll just sit there and go like, well, you know how the whole thing with sour grapes, like whammy bars anyway.
Right.
But, well, do you really not want one? Or is it just because it's just too big of a pain in the butt? So you're going like, well, it's dumb anyway.
It is a big pain in the butt.
Well, I know the sour grapes thing that happens in my comments all the time. I'll test out an amp, take some measurements, go, hey, these two sound alike. Well, I'm more concerned with the in the room sound. Oh, go fuck yourself.
Well, yeah. And the thing with these bridges are that they are incredibly stable. You cannot bend them out of tune. You can't bend them sharp by palm muting. You can't do any of that. You can completely change the feel. They're basically 3 bridges in one. They're the very soft Kahler whammy bar, fixed if you use the set screw, and then you can put heavier springs on it, and you can make it feel more like a traditional fulcrum if you want.
Okay.
You can do all those things. The springs are tiny, so you don't get that spring chirp.
Oh yeah, those are tiny.
Those are tiny. Those are teeny tiny little springs. They don't do anything. What do you got, Gary?
And we got 2 different sizes. We got the standard spring and then the heavy spring.
Okay.
So for those people who want that, that heavy feel, maybe they're going to use 2 of the heavy springs on there.
That was what Hanneman liked, the Jeff Hanneman right back there.
He did.
That's swinging back and forth, which is a good sign that Jeff is with us and he is nodding in approval.
Yes. You bet. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Wherever the hell you are.
You pointed the wrong way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
Here's something that most people don't know. Floyd Rose Pro. Okay. Co-designed with Kahler. That's why we
did not know that.
Yeah, so that right there is completely different from any other Floyd Rose. The string spacing is the Gibson spacing, not the Fender spacing. It was. I'm going to let Gary talk about the way that it came about.
Well, it came about because I think, as you know, we spent a lot of time in court in Floyd Rose over for 12. This was one of the deals where we made a settlement, and I got a license, and Floyd and I and a man by the name of Dave Petzelot actually designed that bridge.
Cool.
And Floyd had a lot to do with it. And by the way, I like Floyd Rose. He's a good guy. Although we've been in court a lot, that's because of his attorneys. Anyway, thank you. I hate all attorneys. Anyway, so I mean, it's just sickening. Anyway, that is a very unique bridge that we all went together on, and then Kramer was to buy the bridge. And,
Yes.
yeah. And then they shortly after I was all tooled and everything and so forth, they went out of business with a guy by the name of Dennis Berardi, who was a president of the company at that time. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
one of Gary's favorite people.
Yeah. In any case, he has the right to live, and that's good. Anyway.
That was diplomatic.
Wow.
No. Well, I have nothing against him. I guess he's a good guy in many circles. In any case, I just know that we did that, and shortly after, Kramer goes out of business, and that was a little bit of a disaster for me because I had all the tooling and all the rest of it. But that's enough of that. I like that bridge because Floyd wanted the idea that it would be flat for palm milling and everything on top. He wanted the fine tuners out of the way because they were sticking up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see.
And it was our idea to put them at a slant so they wouldn't do that. And the bar going underneath to do the tightening was, anyway, I'm proud of that we were able to work together and do something.
So I have a question, and this thing. So you never see Floyd's on Les Pauls except for maybe the Pro there, right? Because of the string spacing, all that kind of shit, right?
Well,
and you do not see a lot of Floyd's on Les Pauls. You do.
I mean,
you don't see a lot of
I don't think
trems
I've ever seen a.
So
Floyd on
my
Les Paul.
question is, could you fit a Kahler on a Les Paul?
absolutely. There's one right behind you.
Oh, fuck me. How about that?
Well, okay, so that right there, that is actually the fixed bridge, not the whammy bar.
And it's a Vantage.
Oh yeah, Canadian company.
Really?
Yeah.
That's that they're Japanese.
Made in Japan.
Okay.
That originally
Glenn,
Matsumoto.
there's a Gibson right behind
Yeah, there's
that
a
one.
Gibson
white
right
one.
behind you.
Here, I can hold it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
just grabbed the wrong one. That's
Oh,
why.
shut it.
Well, we like to have lots of options here. But
Eddie was being nice by going along with it with you.
And you're I get it.
Yep.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
a white one. Is what
my
Glenn, that's called a Gibson.
Well, I can't see the
That's a Les
labels from
Paul.
up down here, asshole.
Now I think that I might have the is the pin on that one locked or not? It looks like it's out. Now there's a little bit of routing to do, but then we also make those locking studs that completely isolates it, gives it a lot more stability.
Well, I was going to say, you got a bit of routing here. Okay, fine, but look, the whole back of your guitar's intact.
Whole back of the guitar is intact. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Right.
So a little bit of routing, not a lot of routing.
Not a lot.
No.
Yeah.
And those will go pretty. Those will go pretty.
That's literally my first time seeing a whammy bar on a Les Paul like that.
Yeah. Now there is a Floyd Rose on a few Les Pauls. There's a Neil Schoen and an Alex Lifeson, and those have Les Pauls.
Yep.
Okay.
Or those have Les Pauls. Those have Floyd
And
Rose.
this operates exactly the same way as a flat mount.
It does.
The only difference is that only the plate.
It's got. You see, it's got little ears down there for the stud mount,
Right.
and then we make those little plates for the front to rise it up.
Yep.
So
Okay.
it's very stable.
Yep.
Cool.
And we have locking studs here. You bolt. Okay. You adjust the bottom of the stud, and then you take the cap and you
Raise the guitar up a little, Glenn. There you
just
go.
bring that cap down and locks it.
Mhm.
So no matter how much tremble you're doing here, it's not going to move in this
No,
area.
never move back there.
Never
Wow.
move there. Another thing, when you're putting it in, you can adjust. Here, you got some adjustment, overall adjustment in and out. Right behind this, you can see this was adjusted out a little, quite a bit.
Like really far, because they where they install those tunamatics has migrated over time.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's being kind. Thank you.
Well, I'm a nice guy.
Yeah. Are you saying Gibson's
are
Quality
inconsistent.
control is inconsistent.
Never.
I would never say that.
Best paint in the business.
We we love Gibson and we would like to have them put Kahlers on their guitars again.
I would like to see that. I mean, it's,
Well, let's.
okay.
Oh, the special lock.
Yeah, look at this. This is freaking cool too. Like, let's see if I can get this. The
Just
string locks.
Flip it.
Flip it good.
Yes.
Look at that.
Did he get it, or you got it too tight?
No,
I got it. There we go.
Yeah. Now
Look at
the thing about that too is that
that's guitar player proof. You're not going to lose those.
Yeah.
well, it's not quite, because so many people think, oh, hey, there's a slot there. I need to tighten that with a screwdriver. Really, you just get it finger tight, and then
we have a cam
flip
on
it
the
down.
inside of this that tightens that up. See,
Okay.
there's a cam. That's why when you put it
Oh,
down,
I
you
see.
feel a little click.
you know
Right.
what's really interesting about that is not the Kahler locking nut.
Oh, okay.
This
That's the locking nut.
is this.
This.
That is a Kahler locking nut.
Okay.
That is a Kahler behind the string lock.
Right.
Called a String Lock Pro.
Yeah, the Pro
Has the levers.
Yeah, now the on the Tipton one is a regular one. I'll insert a slide. We don't have to yank it down.
I'll grab it in a minute because we're here to talk about that eventually.
We certainly are.
That's it.
Anyway, that's more a traditional locking nut. What you would think, like, but it's got a built-in string lock. I think that one's a 10 string.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Once again, it's no pot metal, no cheese.
Well,
no
there's
nothing.
something completely different about that no one else has. And the fact is that the locking part of it is right here. Now, if you were to loosen this up, you put the string in. On the regular Floyd Rose nut, you have a V in the back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now if you're going to do that on a Les Paul, all of a sudden you got the string going right off to the left, right off to the right.
Oh, I see.
And so what's it do? It brings the string up on that V. And so then, like if you use, let's say anybody using an 8, maybe even a 9, they go tighten this down, they'll clip that string. And not only that, they got to pull it down the V. Not so here. On the back of this, we have little pillars where we pull the string around a radius rather than let it go up on the V. That way we never have that problem. And it will seat every time because the little tab pulls it straight down, and that way it'll seat.
Yeah, there's
You thought of everything, Gary.
those tolerances on that locking nut are so tight that, I mean, if you look at those pads there, how many times have you gone to tighten down a traditional fulcrum locking nut, and the entire pad twists?
Yes.
Because there's plenty of room
Yes.
for it to move. You can't do that with that one.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's all machine stuff. That's all done the milling in the shop, as you guys saw.
Oh, right.
And
Cool.
we make 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10s for that.
We got to mention one more time, too, this fulcrum right here. So
Yes.
that was designed for the Fender HM Strat.
Okay, I remember those.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
HM, that's from like the 80s, right?
yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes,
a
yes. They
HM
just called
for
it the
heavy metal.
That's right. Didn't
Wasn't the
they,
Stratocaster? It was
One
the
right
Strat.
there.
Yeah, that's it.
didn't they bring it back recently?
Yeah.
They did, and they put
right there.
and they put Floyd Rose 1000 on it because the Kahlers were too expensive.
Yeah. Well,
That's what we got to discuss. The 10,000-pound elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, your stuff's more expensive, and I think that's fine. I think Alex brought up a really good point.
Yeah.
What's that? It's like, okay, great, yeah, Kahlers are more expensive, but then again, so are Evertons.
Yeah, they sure are.
You know, it's like Evertons aren't cheap either. You know, but
No, they're not.
and
No, they're
people,
actually more
people fucking
expensive.
love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So
On the
why not get if you want to play Whammy, why not get a bridge that's gonna not go out of tune when you play it hard?
Right. That really is the entire thing.
It's a weird like thing to take into it. Like if somebody's thinking it's like too expensive, it's like, well, too expensive in what? If you're going to be using that guitar for many years to come, like, are you okay with putting up with? Maybe if somebody's never used Floyd Rose, I could see them making the mistake because they don't know what they're about to get themselves into with the tuning situation, right? But if you've used Floyd Roses before, or you know somebody that has, it's just
especially in the studio.
yeah, like I didn't see like I mean I like for me
He's
I
a
didn't even,
freaking keyboard player and he knows.
yeah, well but I also I'm a producer and I record band. I've been recording bands for over a decade, right?
Mhm.
And I've dealt with every kind of guitar problem you can imagine, just as Glenn has.
Yep.
And like I said, to the point where anytime somebody would come to my studio with a Floyd Rose, I would be like, all right, yeah, we're gonna use one of my guitars, and it's either a fixed bridge guitar or it's actually an Evertune bridge guitar, because I know I'm going to spend, because if it's a Floyd Rose, I'm not joking, we're going to be spending half of the entire session tuning. Half the entire session. If we're lucky.
If we're lucky.
Sounds like the whole thing of, hey, drummer, can we just take the cowbell off and record that separately, because it's going to be so damn I'll never forget going into a studio and saying like, well, I actually really need this for this part and I don't hit it like Tommy Lee. And it worked. And then afterwards, the engineer said, "You're the only drummer I've ever had to like not just rip that cowbell away from." So certainly there are people who go in with a fulcrum and it's set up and it's great, but that's the exception, not the rule.
Right.
And that's part of the reason why I brought up the Spyder here, is that Fender wanted this to be more stable. So where the posts are, now, the spacing is the same as a Floyd, but they're a little further back. So it's actually more stable, but the trade-off is that it's stiffer.
Well, there's also one other unique thing, and that's where the fulcrum attaches.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, we put the knife on the bolt.
Yeah.
We didn't put the knife
right by the side of you. You can see that gold bridge right there.
Yep.
Yeah. So the knife edge is on the stud itself, and the idea with that is that if you wear out your knife edge, you just turn it a quarter turn, and you've got a fresh knife edge.
Oh.
And these are,
and those do wear out. I mean, like my
they do.
The fulcrum I have on my 29 fret Washburn from 1989.
Ooh.
I just changed those out the other day, and it was like, that was one of those your second favorite guy, Takeuchi. It was one of his.
Oh yeah.
And dumbest. Okay, I get to bitch here for a sec.
Oh,
dumbest posts ever. They weren't hex screws. They were. Like they were Phillips heads.
Phillips heads, yeah.
Those got totally chewed up. Like, who the fuck puts a Phillips on a fucking post on a bridge post?
Right.
Like, that is the dumbest fucking thing ever. I'd like to. Anyway, so I had to do some homework to get the right parts and the right spacing and all the rest of the bullshit, because there's 8 billion different varieties of that fulcrum tremolo now. But I did manage to find something with proper hexes, and it's it's much better now. And I will shout out my good friends over at Graphtech, because they did send me new bridges or new saddles.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were wonderful, and the guitar just came to life.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like change. Yeah, because like this thing got worn down. Like Takeuchi used cheap fucking metal. He really did.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And it got chewed up. I'm like, I got to the point where I was playing and I was drawing blood because it got chewed up so bad.
Good.
I mean, but that's go back to like the point I was making before we digressed, which is like, I mean, if you're gonna pay a little bit more to make sure you get something that lasts like
30
essentially
years,
a lifetime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like way worth it than the constant. I don't know how many guitar players like tell me about how their guitars constantly in the shop getting set up, constantly have problems. Like, well, you're just trying to put a Band-Aid on the problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Actually, you guys are giving me great ideas for the video I'm doing.
Well, there you go. Actually, here,
thank you for that.
See that that styrofoam box right there?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So
that's
this
a counterfeit Takeuchi there.
This is actually from the early 80s.
Is this the one you had, Glenn?
No,
that's
a Takeuchi right there.
Yeah, that's a Takeuchi.
Boy,
that's
it's sure
copy of his.
Right.
Mine's a Takeuchi Floyd. It's licensed.
I see.
Well, it's not only copy. That is a counterfeit.
Oh,
and all they did different was they hooked this up different. The fucking thing, pardon me, the damn thing didn't work. And I don't mind saying that it took me over $500,000 to stop all this.
Wow.
And I had to go to court in Japan. First time anybody's ever done that from the United States.
Wow.
They're all too chicken shit to do it. Pardon me.
Yeah.
But I went there, spent a whole bunch of money, and by God, won in Japanese court.
Wow.
And so I got a cease and desist on it, and we broke up all the tooling and the rest of it.
But that did not give any kind of compensation or anything like
No.
that. That just was like, just stop. Now,
Just
if
to
you want
stop
to
it.
actually sue for damages, that'll be another $500,000. And it was like,
Yeah.
well, all right, fine.
Well, the other thing was at that point in time, we had paid for all the legal stuff for the, you know, the patents and all the rest of it and all the tooling and all that stuff.
Wow.
Had tens of thousands of dollars into it. We'd only sold about 1,200 units at that time.
Whoa.
Wow.
They had sold almost 18,000.
There
Whoa.
was
Good
there was a giant display of these Takeuchis at the Guitar Center back when there was only one Guitar Center, and it was like, yeah, come in here and buy your like not a Kahler for pennies on the dollar.
It wasn't even a small thing. What they did, they bought a gross of them and they piled them up in the middle of the floor, about that high. Come in and buy your Kahler here.
Yeah, come in and buy your not
So
a
they
Kahler.
actually said it was a Kahler, even though it wasn't
absolutely.
actually.
And
Whoa.
so one day, and they were only a mile and a half from a factory.
Wow.
And they thought, boy, they really are. So one day I walked in, I couldn't believe it. I walked in, and there they are, a whole gross of them piled up. And I said, who's running this place? Well, then I found out who that was. And he used to be a salesman at a Cadillac dealer.
Yeah.
And he said, well, this is Arcade. He didn't know I was Kahler. That was quite a meeting. Anyway,
Yeah.
and so I went down, got a cease and desist, because I did have a patent. Went down, got a cease and desist, and then their attorneys wanted me to pay all their expenses and everything else, and I was lucky to win that. I mean, American law is really sucks on
Yeah.
this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now,
Anyway, that's what happened.
well, and it's
Remember,
important.
the secret is to not even try.
Yeah, just
don't
give
do
give
anything.
up.
Don't get involved. Just suck all the time and
Yeah.
blame everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, we've never done this here. I mean, I tell you what, I felt so passionate about this thing. It's lucky nobody got hurt, including myself. But the fact is,
Well, you did punch a guy out one time.
yeah, I did on a chin constant. Yeah. And I broke off a few necks off of guitars in Frankfurt.
Yeah, I was telling you that story.
Yeah, I heard that one too.
That pissed me off, put me in jail.
Had his interpreter at this Takeuchi counterfeit case tell Mr. Takeuchi himself in the middle of court to go fuck himself in Japanese.
We got kicked out of court.
You got nothing on Gary Kahler there, Glenn.
Yeah, probably not.
Oh, I think he's got a lot here. That's why he's here, man. That's why Alex is here.
Yeah.
We need
man.
some help communicating what we really got here.
I mean, dude, that's the thing that it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's it's one of those things where, what do you want, Glenn? Oh, he's grabbing the piece, the
the real
resistance.
deal.
The Piesta Resistance.
Yeah. What's that? I forgot what I was saying.
Something about spreading the word that
Oh
Kahlers
yeah,
are awesome.
Oh yeah. Like it's one of those things where like me and Glenn were saying, like, for many years, decades, we've always heard about Kahler. Never really got a chance to try them or whatever. They never really showed up anywhere. But it was one of those things because also, we never really heard much about them. It's like, I mean, maybe they're just like not that different from Floyd. That's just the assumption I always came to. So that's why anytime I had like a guitar in my studio that I would have for recording, right? It was always, for the longest time, it was just fixed bridge guitars. And then later on, when Evertune became a thing, like I had an Evertune. Like, Kahler never popped in my mind because, like, it was so rare that I ever even heard of Kahler. Like, the only person that I know that plays a Kahler is my good friend Jake Dreyer from Witherfall. He has a custom Jackson 7-string.
Yep.
And it has a Kahler. I think it's this one, but the 7-string version. I think
Probably this one, but the 7-string version without the multi-scale
Right.
attachments.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because,
He has no. Yeah, he doesn't do multi-scale.
yeah, this is a flat mount and that is a stud mount.
Okay. Yeah. Then it's this one. It's.
Yep.
I remember it being the flat mount.
Make sure
Yeah.
you check out the song Something About Fire.
Yikes.
Way to go,
Whoops, I
Alex.
broke
Can't
it.
bring it
That's
anywhere.
okay.
Ceremony of Fire.
Ceremony of Fire on YouTube. They've got 1.2 million views on that
Oh
video.
my!
Yeah,
goodness.
and they're playing a Kahler on their
Oh,
Jackson.
Yeah. Jake has been playing Kahler on his guitars for, most of his career.
Hey, we got to get a hold of Jake.
Yeah.
They sent me the
I
video.
guarantee he'd be thrilled to come
Yeah,
on
Oh,
the
that's
show.
great.
Jake is one of the best guitar players I know. and Witherfall is great.
Yep.
And yeah, no, like that's the only person I was like, oh, dude, Kahler. Like I haven't heard about Kahler in forever. Why do you have a Kahler? He's like, oh, because they're the best. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
He's literally the only person I know like that uses it.
This is why we're here today.
Yep.
This is this is the Fierce guitar. This is the Green Man Alicia guitar.
Yes.
This is a replica of Glenn Tipton's Black Strat.
Yep.
Which he's played with a Kahler for like since forever.
Since forever.
Since when Judas Priest was competing with disco.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
literally.
Yeah, and punk.
Yeah.
and all that, and
All
somehow
that.
they've weathered they've weathered so many different changes in musical fashion. And yet, grunge was
New
a big
metal.
one too.
So are you
glam
saying-
metal,
Glam.
oh,
Are you saying
thrash?
Trash. Yeah.
that they were not victims of changes?
Apparently, no. And this is why we're here. I mean, like, so speaking of victims, so this is the thing. I mean, like Judas Priest definitely, forged their own path. They didn't even do the rock and roll cliche thing,
No.
where this guy dies from a drug overdose. This guy,
Right.
dies in a car accident. Like Cozy Powell's famous last words were, "Oh, hold on a second," while he's on the phone driving in a rainstorm.
That is, yeah.
And so what happens to Judas Priest? Parkinson's. Old age gets him. Like,
Yeah.
So
Right.
Glenn Tipton, like one of the finest metal guitar players to ever walk the fucking planet.
Yep.
Gets sidelined by Parkinson's. I'm sure it's absolutely heartbreaking for him. And
It has to be.
and and it's like, so that's why we're here. We're here to raise money for Parkinson's research to help Glenn forge to get out of this, basically, to hopefully help him find a cure.
Yeah.
And
other people like
and
him.
obviously, that's the whole point. I'm like, Parkinson's hits a lot of people these
Well,
days.
so actually, have you looked into his foundation at all and what it is that they're doing?
No, let me know.
Okay,
what's up?
so here's the deal. There is a really interesting new experimental treatment that Glenn's really excited about. And basically, they put you in like kind of an MRI thing, and they put a special fancy helmet on you. And it's got this crazy thing. It's like MR Ultra something or other, something. But basically what it is they're using sound waves to
I know what you're talking about.
destroy
Yeah.
the Parkinson's in your brain.
No shit.
Yeah, they put this thing on. Yeah, they put this helmet on
No
your head.
surgery.
Yeah.
No surgery.
Does it have a great big Marshall sticker on the outside of it?
I bet you,
Yeah.
know what? We could probably get them to do
Dude,
that.
Yeah, probably.
Glenn,
Cause more problems.
Glenn, this is wild. So like the helmet is like inside the helmet they have like different like materials and thicknesses, and then they shoot like a beam of sound,
Yeah.
and it goes like just the right like depth into your brain to
Yep.
where it needs to.
No shit.
Yeah. It's
So-
nuts, dude.
So the
Right?
amount
Yeah.
of money
Yeah.
that guitar brings at auction will go directly because every single penny that Glenn Tipton's Parkinson's Foundation makes goes directly to that research.
Yeah.
So that right there could potentially help a lot of people just be done with it.
Absolutely, and like I said, I'm super thrilled you guys asked me to help. I'm more. I consider it an honor and a privilege to be.
Well, thank
We're
you.
super thrilled that you said yes.
Oh no, of course. Like
oh
I
wait,
said,
there's another Judas Priest pun in there somewhere. You said yes. You say
Oh
yes.
God, not that record. Yes, that's the Let's Party in Ibiza and Phone It In record, otherwise known as Point of Entry. They managed to get a couple of good songs on that record.
I love that song.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe it's just the little
yeah,
kid in
that
me.
is not one of their high points. No.
I didn't say it was.
Yeah,
but-
exactly. And the sad thing is, it got even worse in the Turbo years.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple really great songs on Turbo,
Yeah,
but there
there
were
are,
a couple of real. Yeah. Anyway.
I just recently watched the video for Locked In,
Mm-mm.
and I totally forgot about Glenn Tipton saving Rob Halford from the scantily clad women by luring a fat guy away with a Twinkie.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
I never heard it before.
I never
Oh
heard
yeah,
that.
that was
And-
great.
and-
That was hilarious.
And the fat guy didn't even get the Twinkie after
yeah.
Glenn gets him away. Glenn
Yeah, he
puts
ate
the
it.
Twinkie in his mouth and sneaks off.
Yeah, that was great.
Wow.
It was awesome. Yeah, no, you know what? I mean, you say yes is no hell bent for leather.
Yeah, that was like, well, the whole whole reasoning behind that record was they had a kind of a couple hits there on British Steel. They thought, hey, let's write an album full of Living After Midnights. That'll work.
Breaking the law.
Yeah.
Weren't they still wearing pilgrim hats in that one?
Yes, yeah. Where they came into the bank disguised as pilgrims.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You mean in the video?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the funny thing too is then the guard, pulls out his like cardboard guitar, his reverse flying V, and
the 80s were great, weren't they?
But you know what? That was a thing that they used to do back in
At
the
concerts.
new album days. Yeah,
they bring cardboard guitars to shows and jam along with the band.
Yeah,
I
in
did
the
not know
audience.
that.
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing.
I when I saw that video, I was confused about that.
Yeah,
I was like, what the?
that was a thing. That was a real thing.
That was a thing.
Like you see the video for Living After Midnight. They actually recruited a bunch of kids who did that to be in the video doing that.
So how did we go from that to air guitar?
Well, I think it started with air guitar, and then they brought cardboard guitars.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah,
They're like, I'm tired of this fake thing. At least I want something.
Yes,
a little
physical.
slightly less fake, but still fake.
In the Living After Midnight video, it was playing as Black Strat.
So how come it didn't evolve from air guitar, then it evolved to the cardboard guitar? Then
How the fuck should I know?
why didn't it go to Guitar Hero guitars, right?
Well,
they did eventually.
They did eventually.
People brought Guitar Hero guitars to shows?
No,
Never.
That never happened.
Yeah.
No. Probably what happened is things do go in cycles. Maybe the kids finally grew up and the kids blow and went, wow, you guys look really fucking stupid.
More than likely. Or, yeah, son, this is I was with it. Take a look at me back in the day, and it's like, what the hell is that cardboard guitar?
Here,
Dad?
son, this is my
You're so
cardboard.
lame.
This is my cardboard guitar that I used to take to all the shows.
Yeah.
And rock out.
The ones that had a Kahler on it was
No.
The best thing here is that just for the goofiness of it all, one of the guys did a reverse flying V, and then years later, they actually
Gibson
made one.
built one. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Dumbest guitar design
Yeah, that is
ever.
that's real
The
dumb.
reverse flying V.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
reverse flying V.
Yep.
Reverse.
I don't know what's worse, the reverse flying V or the what was it? The Star Trek logo flying V.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
God, that thing was
that weird Jackson one.
No.
it was Gibson.
It was a Gibson.
It was a
Oh, okay.
real shitty one.
Yes, it was. It was not.
What was it called?
I can't even remember. The Abomination.
Yeah,
The
they stopped.
Abomination.
They stopped selling it, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah.
This
Well,
is-
nobody was dumb enough to buy
This
it.
is
That
when
was the
they.
whole
This is when they got the
Mm.
new management, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Maybe the
That was the first guitar that they released under that new management team.
was it the pants guy,
The pants guy.
the guy who was like the CEO of Levi Strauss.
Oh, maybe I don't
Was
know.
he?
Right when I found out that they're our new CEO.
That sounds familiar. You might be right.
Our new CEO came from Levi Strauss, and the very first thing I thought of was Anchorman and Brick Tamlin.
Yeah.
You want to come to the pants party? It's like,
Yeah.
are you inviting me to a party in your pants? Let's go. We love you, Gibson. Please put our bridges on your guitar. Actually, that bridge right there is one of the very first
It
500.
says Gibson on it.
It's one of the first 500 Gibson.
No shit.
Yeah, only the first 500 had Gibson instead of Kahler on them.
Wow.
Yeah, well, let me tell you that story.
Sure.
That was back when nobody had any money.
I see.
And
Yeah.
we designed it and everything together. And Gibson didn't have anything to really compete with the Strat
Right.
in the early 80s. And so as a result, we went to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and they bought the first 500 pieces from us. And so we can always thank Gibson for that.
Yeah.
That's how we got started.
Wow.
Yep.
Something about that guitar, though, okay, because there are a couple little differences between that and the original. The first one is that the original was a 78, which is CBS era. It only had 21 frets. That has 22.
Okay.
It also only had the 3-bolt on the back, but this one has 4, but
I see.
Glenn actually put 2 extra wood screws in, so his now has 5.
Yes. And your pickups are screwed in, not duct taped in.
They're not duct taped in. Now, those are actually DiMarzio Super Distortions and double cream bobbins with the black screws, just like his. And this is the 50th anniversary of the Super Distortion this year. First aftermarket replacement pickup commercially available.
And just remember, every humbucker
Wait,
that
that
came
was-
after this sounds completely
Super
different and
Distortion?
unique.
I hear there's a guy that says that.
Wait, is it the Super Distortion was the first aftermarket pickup? That was
Apparently.
It was the first mass-produced aftermarket, go into a store and buy it. Now,
I thought Seymour Duncan was the.
DiMarzio wouldn't make this claim if they couldn't.
Sure.
But the important thing is that the Super Distortion was actually around more than 50 years,
Wow.
but it wasn't readily available until 50 years ago.
Yep.
This year.
I see.
So
That's a long time.
yeah, it is. But yeah, but both DiMarzio and Duncan
Almost
were
as old as Glenn.
Fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? Don't feel bad because I'm older than you.
Yeah, by a little bit.
I was
Well, you guys are all young people.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah,
As far as I'm concerned. Look,
Yeah.
I want to say one other thing
Sure.
about the guitar
right.
is that we want to thank Fender
Fender too.
for cooperating with us, and Larry DiMarzio and his
Yep.
group.
Ernie Ball.
Ernie Ball.
Ernie Ball sent us out the custom gauge strings that Tipton
Nice.
liked, and he was an Ernie Ball guy.
And I'd also like to say that our machine shop made that stainless steel pickguard.
Yeah.
And all I can tell you is that it takes a lot of expertise. It doesn't look like it, but it doesn't. Well, we made that on a Bridgeport, believe it or not, and not on a flat laser cutting device. So we made that on a.
Why is
very
it so hard?
special.
Why is it so hard to do like mass produced metal
Well,
pickguard?
we don't mass produce them.
Oh, right.
Mass produced to be easy.
Oh, really? I see.
No, what you do.
I don't know anything about manufacturing.
Take it to a flatware machine and be laser cut or water cut.
Oh, okay.
And that's really simple.
I see.
They just take an 8 by 4 piece of stainless, put it on there, and cut the hell out of it.
I see.
Yeah.
And they program it and all that. Well, when you're only making 4 pieces, you get to do the same thing, but you're only making 4 pieces.
Right.
The important thing about that pickguard, though, is that it is actually stainless steel, and stainless steel is very tough, so it's very hard to work. Ask anybody who does any work on stainless steel frets.
Right.
And
Yeah, they hate it.
oh yeah,
Like every single time somebody wants to go get their frets redone in stainless steel, it's just complaining from the guy who has to do it.
yes, exactly. But we couldn't do just one. The machine would have tore it apart, so we had to do 4 at the same time, which is why tonight is Judas Priest, and we're going to go and pick up the stainless steel pickguard that Glenn Tipton and the rest of the band actually did sign.
Yeah, in about 45
And that
minutes,
will
I
come.
believe.
Yeah, we better wrap it up here.
Yeah. All I can say is that you have to have special cutters, special feeds and speeds, and my guys all had to figure that out. So I really thank them for that,
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Great
So-
work. It looks great.
So Kahler has a lot to do with that because that's what we're doing. And we really thank all the other suppliers that helped us too.
Kahler, Fender, DiMarzio, Ernie Ball,
Spectre Sound.
Music Group.
Spectre
Yeah.
Digital.
There you go.
Spectre
Yeah,
Digital as well.
That's it.
And Gear Gods and all this other stuff. We didn't even get to our fancy locking fulcrums or things like that. But yeah, Judas Priest waits for no man.
Yeah.
So, we gotta wrap it up. But you know what, you guys, thank you so much for checking everything out, tuning in. Glenn, Alex, thank you so
Thank you
much
for having
your
us.
help.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, and I wanna
It's
say
been an
thank you.
awful
My
lot of
God.
fun.
It was a true pleasure to
Hey,
see this place, learn about it,
Yeah.
finally
Exactly.
actually
Yeah,
play with it.
play
in our
one of these
hands.
things. And it's like, oh, this is fucking
Yeah.
cool. Can't
Yeah.
wait to try one out on the show.
You know what? I think we need to have a Kahler equipped guitar that just lives in your studio.
I think that'd be a good
forever.
idea.
Yeah, we're going to make that happen.
Yeah.
We'll make that
So we will definitely talk about exactly what you want.
happen. What kind of neck you
we
want
will
on
make
it,
that
all the rest
happen.
of it.
Yeah.
What you prefer.
We'll get it figured out.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So that's it. Okay. So until next time, you guys, I've been Eddie Kernan.
Hey, I'm Gary Kahler, and thank you.
And
This is Glenn Trigger.
Alex Nasla.
see you next week.
Bye-bye.